nobody else. No, I ain't tryna be like nobody else. No, I ain't tryna be like nobody else. Cause I'm having too much fun tryna be myself. No, I'm not the type of chick that like to follow trends. I got a small circle, no, don't need a lot of friends. You know I gotta get this money cause I like to spend. I see you haters watching, so I just give you a grin.
Hi guys, it's your girl Lambda. I'm here with another episode of Just Here to Vent. Sorry y'all can't see my gorgeous face today, but my son threw my phone in his tub last night while he was taking a bath, so my camera's like super blurry. I'm just glad I still have audio. At least there's something to look forward to. Anyway, I'm coming here to do my Real Housewives of Atlanta review, season 15, episode 14, I believe that it is. It was actually a pretty good episode. Had a lot of different moving parts. We're starting to see the breakdown and the destruction of Drew and Ralph's marriage, which I never felt was real or organic, at least what they portrayed on the show. That doesn't mean they probably always have had problems. I feel like we still don't even know what Ralph does, but at the beginning of the episode, they were kind of just, going from house to house. We saw cute Brooklyn. Brooklyn is always exciting for the show. Doing some little karate with Kenya. She is so adorable. I love that. Kenya is really, her storyline was a little bit about the boy Roy that she's talking to, but it's also about these embryos that she has frozen. And I think that that's a pretty tough decision, because it's like if you already have a child by somebody and they're already not really being there in the way that you want them, and you guys don't have like it's kind of more so a tumultuous relationship, you're still battling in court. I don't know, like I do understand her not wanting to, lose the embryos or just leave them, because her and Candy had a conversation later in the episode. Shamia was there as well, and I understand that, but I don't know. That's a really hard one. I wouldn't know what I would do either if I was in that situation. So glad that I'm not. So we did get the scene they were at Kenya's house. Shamia came, Candy was there. They were just talking about each other's businesses. Candy asked Kenya about, she got her beauty salon, beauty bar, whatever it is. And she said it's coming along good. They starting to put up drywall. I wonder why they're not filming that. They're missing a lot of opportunities this season. And I do feel like every single episode they're doing flashbacks, and I feel like that's taking up a lot of the show as well. So I do feel like what the people are saying, that they do need some new producers too, because it's just not giving what it was supposed to have gave. It's like the producers aren't giving, some of the women aren't giving. It's like some highs and then it's back to lows. Then some high. It's not a consistent trail up. And you guys know that Candy and the gang is coming back. I'm so excited. Love that show. Really good. So I'm glad that they're bringing that show back. And this is another reason of why they can't stand Candy. You know what I mean? She's a businesswoman before anything else, and I really respect that about her. I love that about her. But moving on from that, they was talking. So while they at the table talking at Kenya's house, Shamia and Candy, they bring up Cheray's birthday dinner or whatever. And apparently it was, who was all there? Courtney, Sanya, Marlo, Cynthia, Martell, of course. I don't know who else was there or whatever. And I guess the bill came back, it was $1,500. Oh, Ross was there. I think that was it. And anyway, long story short, she was saying that the rumor was Sanya had told her that, Martell didn't want to pay. He was going around the table asking everybody for cash apps or whatever. And they were saying that the bill was only $1,500. Now, I'm saying only, but I know that that's a high bill to me. But to them, that shouldn't be a high bill, especially with as many people that was at the dinner. Like, let's get it together. Now, I understand both sides of the conversation. If it's a birthday dinner, okay, I know you expecting people to chip in because it's your birthday, and that can kind of be like they give to you. But on the other side of things, this was poorly planned. It was last minute, and you kind of set it up for yourself. So it's like, okay, why you kind of like putting your friends in position to force them to pay for you in a way. If you wasn't expecting to pay for yourself, you should have came prepared and ready to pay for yourself, because you did set up the dinner. Even if they did decide to chip in, that's cool, but it's like you always should have been prepared. That's one thing my mom always told me, like, don't go nowhere without no money. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody saying they taking you out, always have money to be able to get yourself back to where you need to go. You know what I mean? So I just feel like Cheray dropped the ball on that one, and I wasn't feeling it. And then, if you guys watched the after show, Sanya and Cheray actually got into an argument about that. And I felt like Cheray kept trying to overtalk Sanya. And that's what she do when she be lying, and she be loud and wrong, strong and wrong. And I just feel like, Cheray, you always trying to make turned the tables around, talking about something, oh, Ross shouldn't want another man to pay for him. Or, like, first of all, that wasn't even what it was. His wife is at that dinner. He was getting ready to go pay, probably for her. So, and that's what Sanya was saying. And she said, I did initially expect him to pay. She was like, but then I thought about how long y'all was together, and then I changed my mind about that. And then Cheray was just like, she just was dragging it on the after show. And I feel like, I hope Sanya saw a little bit of how Cheray is, because Cheray is not loyal to anyone. The only person she's ever been loyal to on the show is Kim Zolciak. No one else. She's talked shit about Marlo behind her back. She always acting like her and Candy is in a better place, but you shading her every chance you get in the confessionals or when you with Sanya and Marlo. And I just feel like what I'm tired of with Candy is like, why do you keep giving Cheray grace? I understand y'all known each other for years and whatnot, but I just feel like Cheray is constantly showing you that she's not loyal to you and that she doesn't really care for you that much. That's just my personal opinion. So they discussed that at the table, and Candy was just like, are you serious? Like, you know, he didn't pay, and Shamia was looking confused too. So that scene was really funny. Now, you know, Drew invited everybody to the healing retreat. They show her getting ready to book the place. She's there with her sister, I think her sister's life coach, and the people that, you know, are owning the building or whatever that they renting from. And Drew had me cracking up when she was like, they wasn't gonna serve no alcohol. She was like, you for real? That had me cracking up. She was like, I'm just playing. Like, no, you wasn't playing, girl. You was mad when you found out it wasn't gonna be no alcohol there, child. That had me cracking up. And I really like that they're including her sister's story into the show, because it is good to talk about mental health. And as she said, in the Black community, especially when she was giving her speech, you know, we do try to shy away from that. We always is taught to just go to church or read the Bible or pray. You know what I'm saying? It's not really so much therapy, anything like that. And, you know, there is a negative connotation associated with having, you know, mental issues. They're always labeling you crazy or you bipolar or things like that. And sometimes that's not everybody's issue. Some people are schizophrenic. Some people have personality disorders. Some people are suffering from depression. Some people are suffering from anxiety. So there's so many different levels of, and some people are suffering from a multitude of things, more than one, you know. So I feel like it's more than just somebody just quote unquote crazy, you know. So I do like that they're shining a little bit of a light on mental health and everything like that. So they get done with that. So Drew and Ralph, they on a bowling date or whatnot. So it's starting off kind of good or whatever, and then they sit down. They only had like a couple of little sips of their drink. Then they sit down and starts to get real. Drew says she feels like she's not doing, Ralph is not doing the work. Ralph stopped going to counseling. You know, it's already as a clear-cut sign that he's not interested. And she said, he basically was saying like he doesn't like that they just talk about one particular issue. He was like, he feels like it needs to be happening at a frequency, like a high. He was trying to explain some shit. And then he gonna tell her, he's like, what I'm saying right now is very complex. I did feel in that moment there was him trying to take a jab and basically trying to say that she didn't understand or she couldn't comprehend what it was that he was saying, which I feel like is never a good thing. So I didn't like that he did that. With Ralph, though, what I'm starting to notice is that he does definitely gaslight. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like he pretends or acts in a way like he doesn't like Drew. You know what I mean? He definitely gives me the vibe like he doesn't like her. That's how I feel. That's what I felt. And then while they were arguing, you know, she was just talking about, like, you know, he's not doing the work. She's asking him what work has he done. And she basically is just saying, like, she's busy right now. You know, she's booked and busy. And he was like, oh, I'm booked and busy too. And we all trying to figure out, what are you booked and busy doing? Because at the end of the day, we still don't know what it is that you do for a living. And then he talking about, she was like, you know, Todd does daddy daycare, you know. And then he's like, oh, I'm not daddy daycare. Or I don't know if he said I'm not Todd or I'm not daddy daycare, but I think he said I'm not daddy daycare. I'm like, first of all, Ralph, what does that statement mean, you're not daddy daycare? Because the last time I checked, these are your children. And if your wife is busy and y'all don't want to pay a nanny or whatever the case may be, that's your job to watch them. It's not called daycare when you're taking care of your own children. It's not called babysitting when you're taking care of your own children. So that statement was like, what the hell are you talking about, Ralph? You sound a little bit crazy to me. So they leave from that scene. Oh, whatever. Oh my goodness, I'm cracking up. And they did have a scene with Sanya. She was announcing to Ross that she was pregnant. She put it like in the schedule book and gave it to him, and he saw the pregnancy test, so they was happy. So then they went downstairs, told their family, you know, her sister, the husband, the mom, the dad. I don't know if I seen the husband. I know I seen the mom, the dad, and the sister. Maybe the husband was there, but they just turned around and said, I'm pregnant. It had me cracking up because the mom all delayed saying his mom. She didn't know that she was saying she was pregnant yet. So that's good for them because they do want to have another baby. Saying you was in a confessional saying like it's crazy she about to, have another child, and it's like her family's getting ready to leave her. And it's like, I'm so confused there because like you saying they about to leave you, but you the one that's kind of putting them out. I'm like, what? This girl crazy as cat shit, but it is what it is. If Ross love it, like it, I love it. You know what I mean? So that was a cute scene with Sanya. So now we get to the retreat. It's a healing retreat. Now here it go, some shade in the goddamn confessionals. It was cute. They did set it up very nicely. Her sister made a speech, was telling them about what she was going through, and what I just already echoed about, mental health not being a big thing and people ignoring it in the black community, which is true. And, they had some exercises. They went out there, did some drop it with Drew. So then Marlo in the confessional, she went to the website and she said, it's still not up. It said 404 not found. That had me on the floor screaming. I was rolling around. That was funny. And it's definitely not up, though, so I don't know what's going on with that. So they did the little exercise, then they went inside to do, like, a meditation. Marlo and Cheray, I think her eyes were closed at first, and she opened them back up. But Marlo and, I don't know who else had their eyes open. Somebody else wasn't having their eyes open. Marlo was saying it's stinking there. It's like, I think it was Courtney. I don't know. Long story short, they get to the dinner at the retreat or whatever, and everything's going good. At first, of course, it always starts out good. And then, they start discussing about the whole collusion situation that Mayetta had brought up. And Mayetta basically said that she called Drew a bitch in the room. And, of course, they go back to the scene. I didn't hear Courtney call Drew a bitch, but whatever. And then Courtney's like, oh, I don't even speak like that. Then they fast forward, and she said bitch right then and there. Like, I think she was calling Mayetta a bitch. So I'm just like, what? And they showed Mayetta in the confessional just looking like, you said you don't curse, you don't say that word, and you just said it 10 minutes later. So it's just like, I'm tired of Courtney. I'm really, 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 really tired of Courtney, okay? Like, yeah, she's got to go. I need her off the show expeditiously in T.I. voice, okay? How you doing? So I'm ready for her to get off the show. Definitely ready for Cheray to get off the show because Cheray, oh, God, first of all, we don't really know too much about Cheray's life. I really am trying to understand and get to the bottom of how Cheray gets her money because it's not just from the show because she's been fired multiple times. She's still been keeping that house up. It ain't from She Buys Cheray because that site finally been up good for a good 3-4 months now or whatever. It's overpriced for basic shit, a basic brand, and a basic logo, and that's just the bottom line to it. And I'm not trying to shade anybody's business because it does take money, takes effort, to put into it, but I feel like Cheray's heart is not in it, and it shows in the way that she presents it. Anytime you getting dressed, you should always be trying to put your brand out there. That's what you should be promoting while you on this show. Instead, you always trying to show that you got so much money, but y'all all at the table fighting over a $1,500 bill. That it's not adding up. I need the math to math. 1 + 1 is equaling 4 right now for y'all. Because it's confusing. Okay? So they get to the dinner, they arguing about the whole bitch word. They get past that, and I'm trying to think. I feel like something else had happened at that table. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just cannot, like, the episode would be like, I remember everything that happened, but not all the time. So, oh yeah, but then Cheray was also trying to say, like, Drew was following her lead by doing the whole healing trip. And I like that Drew, even though she didn't see the confessional, who had said, was like, yeah, we're continuing on, like, with the healing journey, basically giving a nod to Cheray, And it's like, but Cheray is like, girl, you're too old. You're a little too long in the tooth to be playing these reindeer games. I don't know how many times I have to say that to you. Like, you need to get it together. Like, get it together and get it together soon. Like, for real. It's not okay. That pretty much was the episode. Oh, yeah. Oh, so at the beginning, when they first got there to the event, Ralph goes around in a circle and hugs everybody. And then Drew had to come up to him to give him a hug. Now, she did stand right next to him before, and then she hugged Ross before she hugged him. And I guess he was trying to, like, get her back. They seemed, like, real petty with each other. You know what I mean? She was like, hi, trying to make him seem like the bad guy, but you also didn't hug him, too. So I just feel like, I don't know, they just seem like they both be trying to make each other look bad. And that's never good, especially on TV. You know what I mean? Shouldn't do it at all, but it's, like, especially on TV. So that was, like, a little weird. And then they did get into it on the after show. She was just saying, like, when she went to take the trip to Portugal, she put her sister in a hotel because she didn't want her at the house with Ralph by themselves, because she knew that they probably would be getting into it, arguing and everything. And, you know, that wouldn't be good, especially her sister's going through her mental health journey. You know, it's not good to trigger somebody that's trying to, you know, get through a mental health situation or deal. Looks like we're going to be getting a little bit more into it next week with Ralph and Drew. First, oh yeah, that's what they was talking about. So Cynthia was there at the retreat, which I thought was cool. It's always good seeing Cynthia, and I like that they give her confessionals even though she's not on the show. That's some respect for her, and I definitely can appreciate that. So they was talking about this lawsuit. Cynthia obviously didn't know anything about it, and I like that Cynthia and Drew is actually friends off the show, that they're building something organic, you know, because that's why Drew invited Cynthia or whatever. And I feel like they started talking about the lawsuit. You know, Drew was saying she getting sued for $1,000. They cut to Ralph also talking about it with Ralph, with Ross and Mayetta's husband. I can't remember his name for some reason, but they was talking about it. He was like, yeah, you know how it is. Somebody come in your house and they feel like they can sue you just because they can. And I don't know. It just seems like some of the stories not adding up. Drew said it was $1,000. Now she's saying it's $10,000. And you know the shady-ass producer's child. They is so shady. They're going to cut to the paperwork multiple times where it says it's just like $1,000 that they being sued for. And then they did cut to Drew coming from court. So it just does seem like they're filming a lot of stuff of them, but it seems like they're just not putting everything on the show. And I'm trying to wonder why that is. I definitely feel like it would be good for them to cover, you know, what is her name? Kenya's beauty bar being built. And then they did have also a table read towards the end of the episode, and it actually looked like sounds like it's gonna be pretty good. Drew, it seems like they did pick the right person. It's a good job, but I don't know. If I was Candy, I definitely would just, like, you know, not really cut ties, but just don't do no more business with Drew, because I do feel like I don't like that she was basically she was saying that Candy was trying to groom her, essentially, if loosely stated. That's what she really was trying to say when she was making her insinuations. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then she made another reference to the dungeon, like, why are you doing that? And you know that that's something that almost destroyed. She's like, Candy had a tour on the dungeon, some shit she was saying. But I'm just like, Drew, you don't even make no sense. Your life doesn't make sense. I don't even know if you don't even know if you coming or going. You don't know when you telling the truth, when you lying. That's how confused you are, Drew. I don't know, but I do see like that she being a little bit more vulnerable. At the end of the episode, she was talking to her therapist. He came over to the house, and she was just talking about, you know, her situation with Ralph. She feels unloved. She feels unappreciated. She feels like he's not doing the work and whatever. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I want to be there for Drew. You know, I be feeling for her. But then it's like, it's really, really hard to tell sometimes if she's ever telling the truth or being vulnerable. Because even on the after show, Candy even was like, you know, I didn't know if you was telling the truth about your sister. She was like, you know, I was like, when you was telling, I was like, don't. And it's like, it's a shame when people have to, if you lie so much that people don't believe absolutely anything that you say. And I mean, that's where Drew has put herself. She put herself in that position. I'm definitely over Ralph. If this is truly who he is, which it shows us that he is, I don't know. Yeah, maybe they should definitely break up. He just seems like it's my way or the highway type of person. He seems like he has old school values in a sense where it's like she needs to be respectful or like bow down to him. And it's like, Ralph, you fucking tried it, because you wouldn't even be getting any type of shine if your wife wasn't who she was. They didn't approach you to be on the show. They approached Drew to be on the show. And you had nothing to do with that. And that's all I'm saying about that. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. I give it about 7.5. It wasn't terrible, you know what I mean? It was a little above average. Leave a comment, hit the share, the like, subscribe, do all of those things, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.